And we are so used to the attention. Ever since the notorious 2000 presidential election, remember the hanging Chad? It has been Florida, 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 as Tim Russert used to say, but there is talk now among political pundits the ground zero for the general election is less about Florida and more about the Rust Belt states. ABC 7's Ray Collins joins us with a closer look. Ray.
Alan, Florida versus the Rust Belt, it depends whom you ask, but one local expert has an interesting comparison of Donald Trump's support tracking a lot like Jimmy Carter's. Mark Weston's a nationally known author who recently moved to the Suncoast. His latest book, The Runner-Up Presidency, is about his favorite subject, presidential politics. And there's something that struck him about Donald Trump's support that no one else has mentioned yet.
One of the really odd things, if you look at a county-by-county map of Trump's support, is that it tracks with, of all people, Jimmy Carter's support in 1976. When Jimmy Carter defeated Gerald Ford for the presidency, it was on a combination of Southern whites and blue-collar Northerners. And neither one of them were that popular out west. And you find the same dynamic now. It's a very different candidate and very different feelings behind this support. But I think the southern states, the swing states of Florida, North Carolina, Virginia will be just as important as the Rust Belt states.
Oh yeah, the Rust Belt states. Some say they'll be more important than usual, but Weston says don't ever underestimate Florida.
I think there will be an emphasis on the Rust Belt states going from Pennsylvania out to Wisconsin because one of the cores of Trump's strength is blue-collar Northern voters. But another core of Trump's strength is Southern blue-collar voters. And so I don't think Florida is going to decline in importance in this election. I think Florida will be right up there with the Rust Belt states.
And another local expert, Professor Frank Alcock of New College, says the one thing you know about Trump's support is you just don't know.
What is possible for somebody like Donald Trump? I wouldn't close off any possibilities. He has a very it's going to be a very large challenge for him with extremely high unprecedented negatives with a number of important constituencies. But his ability to draw from unusual places and patch together coalitions, don't take that lightly. And so, yeah, he can bring some new voters into the mix. He can get, I would imagine, maybe more crossover Rust Belt sort of blue-collar Democrats than we've seen in a number of election cycles. He might lose a number of moderate Republicans, but so how does that, add up? Well, depending upon which pundit you ask, they're giving you a different estimate.
And depending on the poll, you get a different estimate. The numbers from the website Real Clear Politics, which crunches poll averages, shows Clinton with a 46-42 lead in Florida. And Weston says heading toward the general election, Trump won't be able to pick on his opponent in the same way he captioned his former foes like Little Marco or Lion Ted.
I don't think it's going to be as easy for Trump to attack women as it is for him to attack men. With all of his attacks against Rubio and Cruz, his attacks against Carly Fiorina and his attacks against Megyn Kelly didn't work out that well. And so Trump's going to find it's tougher.
But then again, one thing we've learned about Donald Trump is the rule book has been thrown out.
Take conventional wisdom with a grain of salt.
Well, one thing's safe to say, Alan, an eventful 6 more months to election day.
And it will be fun.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ray.